Trump orders Israel to halt bombing of Gaza after Hamas agrees to release hostages and accepts key elements of peace plan. Washington, D.C. On October 4, 2025, U.S. President Donald Trump posted a message on his social media platform, Truth Social, urgently calling on Israel to immediately cease its aerial bombardment and military strikes on the Gaza Strip. This appeal came just hours after Hamas announced its partial acceptance of Trump's proposed peace plan, which includes the release of all surviving Israeli hostages and the return of the bodies of those who perished in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Despite this positive development, Hamas has proposed additional negotiations on several critical points to ensure a just and sustainable peace for the Palestinian people, emphasizing the need for long-term stability and humanitarian safeguards. Background on the conflict and Trump's peace plan. The ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza erupted into full-scale war on October 7, 2023, when Hamas launched a surprise cross-border attack into Israel, killing over 1,200 people, mostly civilians, and taking more than 251 hostages. In retaliation, Israel initiated a massive military campaign in Gaza, which has resulted in over 66,055 deaths, according to Gaza's Hamas-controlled Ministry of Health. This figure includes a significant number of women and children, and the war has triggered one of the most severe humanitarian crises in recent history, with widespread shortages of food, clean water, medical supplies, and basic shelter. Displacement has affected nearly the entire population of Gaza's 2.3 million residents, exacerbating famine risks and disease outbreaks amid destroyed infrastructure. During his 2024 presidential campaign, Trump repeatedly vowed to swiftly end the war, positioning himself as a decisive deal-maker in the Middle East. On September 29, 2025, he unveiled his comprehensive 20-point peace plan during a high-profile meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. The plan has garnered support from several Arab nations, including Saudi Arabia, Jordan, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Egypt, which see it as a potential pathway to broader regional normalization and economic integration. Key elements of Trump's peace plan include immediate ceasefire and hostage prisoner exchange, a full and immediate halt to hostilities, followed by the release of approximately 20 surviving Israeli hostages and the bodies of those deceased within 72 hours. In return, Israel would free hundreds of Palestinian prisoners, prioritizing women, children, and those serving long-term sentences. Phased Israeli troop withdrawal, a gradual pullout of Israeli forces from Gaza, beginning with northern areas and progressing southward to allow for de-escalation and reconstruction. Hamas disarmament and amnesty. Hamas would dismantle its military wing and surrender weapons stockpiles, with amnesty offered to members who commit to peaceful civilian life monitored by international observers. Gaza Governance Commission. Establishment of an interim peace commission to oversee Gaza's administration, including former British Prime Minister Tony Blair as a key member, alongside representatives from Arab states and the United Nations. Urgent humanitarian aid. Immediate influx of aid, including the restoration of water, electricity, and hospital infrastructure, with billions in funding pledged by the U.S. and Gulf allies. Border openings under oversight. Reopening of the Rafah crossing for aid and civilian movement, supervised by the United Nations and international community to prevent smuggling or rearmament. Guarantees for Palestinian rights. Assurances that Palestinians will not be forcibly displaced from Gaza, coupled with a roadmap to Palestinian statehood if conditions, such as demilitarization and recognition of Israel, are met. This includes economic incentives like job creation and infrastructure projects tied to peace compliance. Prime Minister Netanyahu has fully endorsed the plan, but reiterated Israel's firm stance against establishing a Palestinian state, warning that any violations by Hamas would trigger renewed military action. He emphasized that Israel's security remains non-negotiable, particularly regarding threats from Iranian-backed groups. Hamas's response and Trump's urgent call. On October 3, 2025, Hamas issued a statement via its official media channels, confirming its agreement to release all remaining living Israeli hostages, estimated at around 20, and hand over the bodies of those killed in a phased exchange for Palestinian detainees. This marks a significant concession in response to Trump's plan, which included a 3-4-day ultimatum for Hamas to reply. However, Hamas conditioned full implementation on further talks addressing core issues, such as handing administrative control to Gaza to an independent technocratic body backed by Arab and Islamic nations rather than a Hamas-led or Israel-influenced entity, unrestricted reopening of border crossings without Israeli interference, a complete and verifiable Israeli troop withdrawal from all Gaza territories. Hamas explicitly rejected immediate disarmament, stating it would only occur after Israel ends its occupation and blockade of the region. The group praised Trump's initiative, the Arab countries' involvement, and international efforts, while calling for mediated talks through neutral parties like Qatar and Egypt to build trust. In response to Hamas's announcement, President Trump posted on Truth Social. Hamas's agreement signals they're ready for everlasting peace. Israel, stop the bombs now to protect our hostages and speed up the release process. This isn't just about Gaza, it's the key to Middle East peace that everyone has wanted for so long. He warned that extracting hostages amid active combat poses extreme risks, and noted ongoing detailed discussions to iron out logistics. Trump's intervention underscores his administration's hands-on approach, with U.S. envoys coordinating with mediators in Doha and Cairo. Current situation and remaining challenges. As of now, Israel estimates that 48 hostages remain in Hamas custody overall, with about 20 believed alive. While Hamas's partial acceptance is a breakthrough, major hurdles persist. Disarmament and security. Hamas's refusal to disarm without full Israeli withdrawal raises fears of re-escalation. Governance vacuum. Determining Gaza's post-war leadership, free from both Hamas dominance and Israeli influence, remains contentious. Displacement concerns. Ensuring no forced expulsions of Palestinians, amid reports of over 1.9 million displaced, exacerbating famine risks and disease outbreaks amid destroyed infrastructure, is critical. Domestic pressures. Netanyahu faces backlash from his far-right coalition, which could collapse if he makes too many concessions, potentially triggering early elections. U.S. officials and the international community have welcomed these developments, with Trump stating that active talks are underway for a solution everyone can live with. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres echoed this, urging all parties to seize the moment. However, analysts caution that the plan's ambiguities, particularly on statehood and enforcement mechanisms, could unravel without unanimous buy-in. Some experts, citing past failed ceasefires, warn of peace fatigue if timelines slip. This represents the most promising development in the Middle East in years, potentially paving the way to enduring peace. Yet, it demands sustained commitment from all stakeholders, including robust international monitoring to translate words into action. Sources: Sky News, Reuters, BBC, AP News, and additional outlets. Thank you for taking the time to follow this news update. For comprehensive coverage of the real-time situation, please share this detailed report to inform others. Stay tuned for further developments. Wishing you health, prosperity, and peace.